Yo, it's Go and welcome to the video. This is part 2 of clearing all the dungeons in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. And this time I'm going to solo Azjol-Nerub and Old Kingdom. If you have a guess of how long AN took and how much gold I made, pick from one of these options and see if you're right. Starting off with the first boss, Crickthir, where the trash before the boss was actually harder than the boss itself. There's a little downtime between the ads and the boss becoming active, so I got to drink up, get some hots up, pop all my cooldowns. It did help that Starfall was still on cooldown, so I used it a little bit into the boss fight, and a bunch of little ads come out, so that Starfall kind of helped with those little tiny ads. Just a little bit. I wasn't ever in too much danger. Boss and the little ads all went down fine, and it was time to move on to boss number 2, which is Hadronox, and also the easiest boss in this dungeon. I cleared all the little ads, waited for the boss to come up and finish off the other ones, and pumped it down with no problem. And now for the last boss, Anub Eric, pick whichever one you want to call it. This was a long fight, but really not too difficult. The hardest part in this dungeon was just getting past those first packs right before the first boss. Everything after that was pretty smooth sailing. And to fully clear this took just about 15 minutes, and I got around 33 gold, because really there's not that much trash that drops any loot at all, so it's mainly just the boss loot that you will get from this dungeon. And fun fact, you can grab an herb at the very beginning of this instance without having to pull any trash or the boss. Now that AN's out of the way, it's time for Old Kingdom. Obviously this one took longer than Azjol-Nerub, but here's a couple options on the screen. See if you can guess which one's right. Starting with Elder Naddox. I could really tell this dungeon was going to be a bit tricky. There's 2 phases to this boss. When the boss gets to 50% HP, it becomes immune to damage, and you have to kill an ad that spawns before you're able to go back and attack and finish off the boss. I tried not to pump too much into the boss to get it down to 50%, but once it did, I popped the rest of my cooldowns and was able to get this first one down. The second boss, Prince Taldaram, was a bit scary because of how long the stun is and how much damage he's going to do to you while you're stunned. I was trying to keep my hots up throughout the entire fight, using bark skin only when I was stunned. As soon as the boss vanishes, that's your cue to throw up a hot that has fallen off and then get right back into Boomkin form so that you're not stunned out of form. And even though it took a little bit longer than all the other fights, I was able to get this boss down first try. So the boss down by the mushrooms, Manatar, is only in heroic, so the third boss is Jedoga, Shadow Seeker. This boss was hitting pretty hard in phase 1, but I was just buying my time to get the boss to 50% for when the boss becomes immune, the ad becomes active, and then that's when I popped my Starfall and Treants and tried to blow up that ad before it made it to the center of the room where the boss is and enrages the boss. And since I made that DPS check, the rest of the fight was easy. And the last boss, Volage, probably the easiest boss in here because the boss will cast the Insanity, but you won't go insane because you're the only player in the instance. So you have all that casting time to just keep pumping the boss, throw up extra hots on yourself, move away from the boss, whatever you need to do to just throw everything at this guy and get him down. If you guessed that the dungeon took about 34 minutes and I got about 135 gold, you were correct. And the fun fact about this dungeon, just like the other dungeon in the video, there are some herbs in here that you can pick to level your herbalism, give to your scribe, alt, whatever you want to use your herbs for. Well, thanks for watching, and the next video is going to be Drakthron Keep and Violet Hold. Let's see if I can do it.